Hey there, it's Kat. Thanks for stopping by today. Today's book is kind of hard for me to talk about, I'll be honest. And I'm not saying that, I'm saying that in the best way possible. This book is timely. This book is a lot. This book is not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. I applaud. It's okay. So let me tell you the name of it. It is called Severance by Britt, and this book is not for the faint of heart because it is smack dab putting us as readers right into what is going on in our world right now. And, for me, I don't shy away from that kind of book, but I understand how some people won't be able to read it. The cover is stunning. I don't pick a book to read because of the cover, but I do notice it, and I do notice the detail that the author, if the author, has like the whole package as far as what the cover looks like, what the book is about, and all that kind of stuff, the creativity that has gone into that. So the cover was very striking, and then I read the description and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I want to give it a go. And it's a lot, and it affected me deeply. And I think that it took a lot of courage. I think this might be her second book that she's written, and I applaud her for having the courage to go there, because it's timely. And so the basis of the story is it's about Alana and Mica and Dakota and their group of friends. Mica and Dakota are in a band, and Alana and her friend Jess go to see them, and they go to see another band, and they end up meeting Dakota and Mica. And the whole book is, the chapters are before and after. Those are how they're titled. And it's from Alana's perspective, and it's about a nightclub shooting, and they're in it. And it's a lot, and it's scary, and it's raw, and so delicately written because it's about their journey. It's how they pick themselves up immediately and after, and how they get to getting back to themselves, being so profoundly impacted by what happened that night. And just figuring their right side up again. Really, really well written. And I don't want to give too much. I want to do a video about this book and talk about it because it deserves to be talked about. But I don't want to give too much of it away. So I'm struggling with, and I have, 5 pages of notes on my Kindle. And I just, as I'm preparing for the video and going through and reading them, I fear that if I sit there and talk about them like I normally do, that I'm going to give too much away. And I don't want to do that because I feel like I don't want you to go blind into reading the book because, you never know what's going to trigger somebody. But I really want you to read it because I feel like she took a chance, just in my opinion, she took a chance writing a love story about something so horrific, and how people are drawn to each other, and what grief does to people, and how it's so different for everybody. And her family, her parents are really conservative Christian people, and they really kept a tight, she's their only child, Alana's their only child, and they really kept a tight leash on her already. And then can you imagine that your daughter goes out with her friends and goes to see a band and there's a nightclub shooting and it's happening? And as I'm filming this video, like, you know, we wake up and there's something else that happened, and I've struggled putting it out there, but I think this is where this is a book that has enabled me through reading it and absorbing it and now sitting here and talking to you about it, that I grew as a reader, because I was kind of like, I was into it and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. And when I started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had to put it down a couple times because I just was so sad. And I just was so sad for her and so sad for all of them. And there's people that are going through this right now. The basis of this is about two people that find a way to move on together when everything is against them. And she wanted to, I think originally she was drawn to Mica because of the situation. And yet we see, because like I said, the chapters are before and after, we see that there was like a little something. I mean, she was totally into Dakota. I mean, that's without saying. And Dakota is the most likable, sweet rock star, you know. He had the whole bad boy thing, but yet, you know, they were very opposite. Alana and Dakota were very opposite, because he's like this like up and coming rock star, and she's this like sweet, raised very sheltered kind of, you know, her parents kept her very close and a tight leash on her, and, you know, the world is sinful and, you know, the devil, and yet she's trying to break free of that and yet be respectful of her parents, but they're so stifling to her. And of course she meets a rock star, you know, and, you know, everything that his life supposedly entails, you know, and she has a blog and she likes to bake, and they call her the Cupcake Queen, and Dakota calls her his moon child, and there's just the sweetness to their relationship. And you have all of that in the juxtaposition of this horrific event happening. So you're really, your emotions are being torn a lot for a lot of different reasons. And Mica is very dark, and I think in general, what we know of his personality, yet she finds herself, you know, drawn to him, and he doesn't. Boy, was he closed off. Oh my gosh. I don't think, well, at least in recent memory, I haven't read a book with a character, and it's not just because what happened to him. It's him in general, that he's so closed off, and he doesn't give her anything to go on. And but yet she keeps trying, because he's like this anchor for her. But he looks at like she's dragging him down, and he just is trying to move forward. And when he looks at her, all he sees is looking back, and he doesn't want to be there either. He was really complex. He doesn't give you anything. But we've, you know, obviously there's a story, and you know, it was a wonderful story, and literally up until the end, I didn't think that it was going to be a love story at all. I thought it was going to be, you know, that's whatever was going to happen to them through surviving all of this, and if they move on and what their next steps are, and because you see where other people are dealing with it differently. We all, well, I know I have developed a fear about being places. I mean, I don't stop myself from going out, but now we have to think about these things in our world, and to read it on page with a young girl who's roughly the same age as my children, two of my kids, and know that they go out in the world and that they're worried about that, and I'm worried about that, and everyone's worried about that, and here it is in this book, and you're reading it in a different way because you're reading about a character going through it. And oh my gosh, she goes there, and then Britt goes there in this book, and I applaud her for that. And personally, I felt it was risky. She wrote this book very well. It was a 5-star read because the emotion and how you understand these characters and how she wrote about current events. She did a fabulous job. That being said, make sure that you understand that it is about a shooting, and that's scary. But if you want to grow as a reader, I would recommend reading this book, because I really do feel like, it's just a different take on, if you step back and you look at it, it's a different take on a love story, and it's a real take on life, and how, the good part of this story was how these characters found their way through and after this happened. And to me, that's what's important in a book. That's what I like to read. That's what I want to see. I want to read a story. I want to go on a journey. And Severance definitely took us on a journey, a real journey. So let me know if you have read Severance in the comments below. I really want to read her other book called Rapture, and that's on my to be read. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I will see you soon.